Hi, welcome to Westside Community Incubators. We are here at Nevada Partners. Thank you so much for joining us. I have a special guest today, and I appreciate you so much for joining me. I'm going to go ahead
Thank
and let
you.
her introduce herself.
Thank you for having me. Good morning. My name is Niana Clark, also known as the Annihilator and the Freedom Doctor, and I free minds, pockets, and people.
And how did you get that name?
I got that name because everything I do with so much passion um, that I annihilate everything that I come in contact with. So,
If you joined me a couple of times, you already know I love to dive into passion, to purpose, to profit. So I would love to ask, what is your passion?
so my passion is the criminal justice system. Um, I have a passion for felons. My tagline is free my innocent felons until my innocent felons are free. A lot of people don't know that there are a lot of wrongfully convicted people that are in prison, a lot of wrongfully convicted people that are on the streets living with felonies. And because that has impacted my family directly, I believe it's a problem. And someone has to stand up for the problem.
That's awesome. This is going to be a powerful topic. I hope everybody chimes in. There is a live going on, so please leave your comments, and we would love to reach back to you, especially if you relate with this story. Do you believe that this is your also divine purpose?
Absolutely.
It's your divine purpose.
Absolutely.
What differentiate from your passion to your purpose in this journey for you?
I feel like anything you're passionate about is not going to require much work as far as it feeling like work, right? When I get up in the morning, my ultimate goal is how many people can I impact?
Impact.
And it's
Yes.
how many people in the system can I impact?
Yes. Talk to me about your journey on how you first began your passion.
So I want to say it was by accident, but nothing I have learned in life is by accident.
Accident,
Everything
right?
is divine purpose. So in 2002, my, at the time, children's father was convicted at trial of 11 to 45 years. He was found guilty of 9 felony charges, which resulted in an 11 to 45-year sentence.
Wow.
So I was 9 months pregnant at the time the judge read off all of those months. And we also had a 5-year-old child. So I was devastated. I was already going to school to CSN, but just for general studies, really didn't know what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
But when the situation happened with him, it ultimately changed.
Right.
So that's how it started.
And then what led it to being now your purpose?
So so 2002, he was convicted. 2005, a gentleman in prison, along with myself, did a lot of research, and we were able to file a writ of habeas corpus, and we got his sentence overturned. And the same judge that sentenced him 11 to 45 years was the same judge that overturned her sentence.
Did you ever watch anything that taught you? I'm going to give an example. Like, I love, these are just movie references: Devil's Advocate, Double Jeopardy. Um, there's just a couple things. What is it? Runaway Jury. I don't know if you heard of those. Like,
Yes.
did you see anything that sparked the interest before your relationship?
So when you ask that question now, I want to go back to maybe it's To Kill a Mockingbird.
To Kill a Mockingbird.
So that's a movie that I think about now, but I didn't think about that at the time.
Mm-hmm.
No, but yeah.
Yeah, that's very deep. Um, what was the outcome as you're going through this journey for yourself?
For everyone to experience freedom. So whether you are on the streets, whether you are in prison, just to be able to be released from that cage or that box, because a lot of times we put ourselves in these cages and these
Yes.
boxes. So my ultimate goal is freedom. And if you're incarcerated and you're never going to see the light of day, you still deserve for your mind to be free.
Right.
So
I also come from a similar background. I most definitely understand that when someone you have that is incarcerated, your family's doing time with you. Um, the children are doing time with you. You know, my great grandmother ended up raising me due to situations like this as well. Um, one of the parents is always absent. It's very rare that you sometimes have both of the parents. You at least maybe have one, if not the rest of the children go into the system, right? Did you ever deal with women who were incarcerated?
so I've dealt with women that are incarcerated, definitely. That's my passion. Because women are the catalyst of this world. We hold everything together. So yes, currently I deal with women that are incarcerated. Anytime I see the prison line on my phone, it's my duty to pick up that phone and give them some inspiration and some hope, or check up on whatever I'm doing for them. So I deal with ladies now.
And what do you see the difference between the men going through their process of incarceration and then the women going through theirs? Let's do three distinctive that you find the difference between the women and the men that they're dealing with. That is, you, you got a list. I know there's a laundry list, right?
So the men have way more support. And I say
Mm,
physical, emotional, financial support. So they have more support. They're given more stability because they have more resources
mm.
than women have. So resources, support, resources, and stability is what men have over women.
Wow.
And that's major.
Yeah, that is because again, you know, the women we're like the matriarch. You know, we do
Right.
all the things, and I also preach that on my podcast. You know, we wear all the hats. You know, and it
Mm-hmm.
always falls on us with the children, even the men that are in there, and then
Yes.
the men that are not in there. We are always again, our grandmothers raised us. You know, we are the all,
Everything. And it's a lot
right?
easier for a man to come parole home to a stable home that a woman has created
Yes, speak
than
about
it
it.
is for a woman to get paroled to a stable home
Talk about it.
that the man has created.
That's very
That's a
true.
huge difference. So
Yeah. If you can add or change anything of that, what would you recommend that the system does, or what would you do differently?
I would recommend that the system offers more resources for the women. Because if we're talking about equality, which is
Mhm.
what everybody talks about, well, let's talk about equality after incarceration.
Okay.
And if we have several resources as far as transitional homes
Hmm.
for the men, we need to have those for the ladies.
So there's no transitional homes, or very few
Very few.
for
And a lot
women.
of them are sober homes. So the ladies have to have some type of drug or alcohol addiction.
And that's even if that was a case.
And a lot of them don't have or may not have that type of issue. So now, if they don't have a stable, parolable home to go home to, then they are sent to a different prison to finish the rest of their time, which
Mm,
is absolutely ridiculous.
yes. Wow.
Yes.
That piece, I never knew that. Okay, so that's one. What would be another that you would see is needed?
So definitely housing. Really trying to get these children and these parents back together. Because
Yes.
if you go to the system and you listen to a family court judge, they're going to say the best interest of the child. After a parent has gone through the incarceration phase and they've paid their dues, they've done their time, now it's time to get the children back with their parents.
Right.
I'm big on children being with their parents
I second
if
that.
they are capable, because we
Correct.
want to have capable parents, right? We don't want to just throw these
Absolutely.
kids back to them just because they're mama or daddy, but
Correct.
we're going to build them up so they're good, responsible, capable, nurturing
Yes.
parents.
Yes.
So
And also it's almost like we all know the system is a system.
mhm,
And the resources from the inside should prep you at least to do that on the outside.
absolutely.
So if we have something that is prepping the women and the children, okay, okay, so a lot of children are not able to go see the mother.
Mhm.
um, I remember the days of being able to go see my mom, and I remember the days of not being able to see her. I do want to tap on the child side too. And then if the women are able to have some type of healing, which is what I love to talk about, because all this stems from their childhood
Right.
trauma. How can we nurture them, take care of them, heal them before they go and meet up with their children so they are capable of doing things like that? And then when they come out, which is something that I eventually want to work on, I think we spoke about that too, is helping children with incarcerated parents.
Mhm.
So, there's a lot of things and activities and things of just bonding. They do it all the time for
Right.
jobs. They take them out on bonding and experiences, things like that. We're very involved. We're not really involved, especially in the Black community. We're not
Right.
really involved in things like that when it comes to, I'm not saying
Bridging that
there's
gap.
none, but very few.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I love the proactive approach, and that's why I'm dedicated to getting into prison and dealing with the ladies, because the ladies that come into the transitional home that I want to provide, I want those handpicked for success.
Yes.
And I say that because you know the ones that want it, and you know the ones that don't.
Absolutely.
And I solely want to deal with the ones that want it, that want every single thing they can get, because so much time has been spent and lost and wasted.
Right.
And also to prep them for when they get out, because when they get out, this is a culture shock to them.
Yeah.
Being free sounds beautiful until you do it.
And time changes quickly.
Yes,
Yeah.
technology has changed dramatically for some of those ladies who have been locked up 15, 20 years to get out to this.
Yeah.
I might want to go back.
Right.
So
yeah,
that's important.
a lot of people don't also understand is that just because you were incarcerated, that you're not smart. A lot of people are smart. They're either went in smart or they learned a lot inside, and that's just from reading books, But again, I think there needs to be more. I mean, sometimes I hear people like they have a church in there, but that's not really helping as much. It's helping them keep them in a place of sanity, but it's not really
progressing them.
It's not touching the soul. I think we got to dive deep in order to reach the masses. The children. Let's talk a little bit about the children. What is your vision for the children and the parents?
Like you said, transportation, being able to, first of all, it costs. Prison costs money for us on the outside. So we have to pay gas to get up to the prison.
Yes.
We have to have quarters. I don't know how it is now, but back then when we were going, we had to bring quarters so that your loved one could eat
The snacks
and have all the snacks in the visiting room.
Right.
If you were like me, I had a new outfit every time I was going to the prison, So it costs to go to the prison. So when you're talking about bringing the kids and being able to keep them connected, I was very, very big on that. A lot of my family looked at me crazy because my oldest is 27 now, my youngest is 22. Mind you, my baby was in my stomach and my oldest was 5 years old at the time. So that long ago, people were like, you are crazy to bring your children up to the prison every weekend to see their father. Like that's crazy.
Yeah.
But I was big on keeping the family together.
Right.
I came from a 2-parent family. I still have both of my parents. They're both together. So that's what I know.
Yeah.
So that's what I try to also, implement with my children. So I'm very big on that.
Right. It is a double-edged sword to me as a child being in that experience, because I remember my grandmother asking me, do you want to go see your mother? And I remember seeing my father, do you want to go and do this? Yes. I don't ever not want to see my mother, but I don't want to see her in this position. But the double-edged sword was when I did go, sometimes that visitation is taken. So, you're getting ready and you go all the way up there, especially as a child, it's just snatched right underneath you with no explanation, no anything. And then you have to harden your heart. That's what I ended up learning having to do, was to harden my heart at an early age, which took me into my adulthood, which took me into my relationships. And that's something I had to heal myself as I became an adult. And it took time. Did you have to do some type of self-healing or repairing?
Oh, definitely. Because when you go to the prison, you're treated like an inmate as well.
Yeah.
So me and my children were subjected to
Searched.
everything that my husband was subjected to,
Yeah.
being searched, disrespected if they
Disrespected.
felt like it.
Correct. Talk to them any kind of way.
Right. They think that because they're an officer, they're at such that power and control. But then you have the good officers that
Yeah.
see you every weekend and they commend what you do.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a give and take.
It is.
But I think it was the best thing for my family and for all children. I think that just because your mother or father is gone, incarcerated, you still gotta go check them out.
Did your children ever give you, well, I don't know when they were young, but even now that they're older, did they give you any feedback on how they felt going to the visitations?
They all they said is they knew, like, the weekend they knew was their dad's weekend. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're going to their dad's house.
It becomes normal.
Right. It became normal. They knew Thursday, Friday, until my baby started going to kindergarten, of course. But Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we're at Indian Springs. So they knew that was their life. And we were there from 7:30 to 4:30. So if y'all got something to do afterwards, by all means, I'm going to take y'all to do it. But during those hours, we going up there. So they never said anything. And to this day, like, they have never said, like, Mama, why you bring us up there so much? We didn't want to see that, or that did something to us. They've never said that.
Do you think it's different from boy children to girl children?
I would say, I would have to say, yeah. It's definitely different. Daddy's girl versus daddy's son. So I'm sure it is somewhat different, or dad's mom, and child. So I definitely think it would be different based off of the gender of the child.
I want to change this a little bit. How do you feel about the men when they visit their women that are incarcerated?
Do men visit their? Oh, I'm just,
I know that story is a little bit different, so I kind of want to touch on that to bring that to awareness as us women, or loyal, as they would say, we go and visit the men.
So that's funny, because I'm going to still go to what I said about stability and the men having it good. Most times the women they don't have a record, so they can go visit, right? Now I got this husband that's at home and I'm in prison. More likely than not, he has a record.
Yeah.
So he's coming to see me? No.
Yeah.
But they made it so good now that you can be on
the virtual.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he could still see me, just not physically, or come see. But I haven't been up there to the visiting room at the women's prison, but I can imagine it's probably more mothers, the grandmothers, aunties, children, versus men. Maybe fathers are up there. Maybe.
Yeah. I want to pivot back a little bit. As in transportation for the children, are we thinking like maybe a bus taking the children up? Because they are far. We already know that they're way far off civilization. So maybe like a bus that shuttles everybody up to the facility, maybe at one specific stop, and takes them.
Yeah, because when I was going up to the prison, they had a transportation system. You would meet somewhere. It wasn't for very long, but it was there. It was possible. You meet somewhere, they get you to the prison, you leave and go back to the spot they drop you off at. But a lot of, you got to look at who is incarcerated,
right,
and what they left on the streets. They may have been the income. So if I was providing the income, however I was providing that income, if I was providing the income for you to do whatever it is that it was for you to do, and now that income is no longer there, now you got to go get a job and do X, Y, and Z. Things are going to be a lot different for you at home.
Do you see the system changing at all?
I want to say yes because I want to be positive, but I also want to be realistic. There have been several people prior to me to make a change and a difference in this system. Al
Right.
Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, Johnny Cochran. The system, unfortunately, to me, has just gotten worse.
That they take a step forward and then
it has gotten knocked
go
back.
back.
Now, do we still owe it to our people to do our due diligence to do the best we can? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But, do I really, really see it changing? No.
What resources do you know that you can tell the audience? Any type of resources that someone who's in this situation or a family member that can anything, a couple of things.
Well, I'm going to give you my resource first
There we go.
because I'm the freedom doctor. I specialize in cases. I also worked on not only my husband's case, but my son's case as well. So I'm very instrumental when it comes to research and being very detail oriented because one simple detail missed
Can
could make all the difference of a case being
just
overturned,
yeah.
dismissed,
Yes.
someone coming home. And because a lot of people, unfortunately, don't have the ability to have a paid attorney, you get what you get, right? So something could be easily missed. So on the line with Nye actually goes over cases, whether they're incarcerated and they've been sentenced or they're on the street and their cases are closed. We can possibly reopen your case and, see what can be done. So I will be the first research and support. But there's also FIT that is over there on Stella Lake. They have a wonderful
And
program.
we're speaking about Las Vegas, Nevada.
Yes, Vegas, Nevada.
Okay.
It's financially independent something, but they're very, very good. They do a lot of training to get them trained and get them job ready. Nevada Partners, I would also say, as an entrepreneur, you're coming to start something up, have an idea. Being able to have resources and support is phenomenal.
Yes.
That can make or break someone staying on the streets and doing the right thing, or just saying F it all and doing what they're accustomed and used to doing. So
support is everything.
Support is everything.
Yeah. What suggestions or complaints or just ideas of women who are or have been incarcerated, they come to you and say what they may need or what they see that needs to be changed?
What type of resources am I going to offer them?
No, what type of suggestions or ideas that they have that needs to be changed just in general as just being a woman incarcerated or has been incarcerated?
I would say start talking to the politicians, start talking to the people that are responsible for getting these laws changed to be more beneficial to someone that has been justice impacted, being a social activist themselves, because I've never been to prison. So I'm going off of what my husband dealt through. I'm going off of what my nephew went through, what my son has gone through, but I myself personally have never been through prison.
Right.
So a lot of the things that I do is because the ladies in the prison are like, nah, this is what we need. So a lot of the ladies have the answers within themselves to be able to go help the problems and the people.
Is there a place for them to link together? Do you know any maybe foundations or any other places where women who have been incarcerated with that background who come together? Do they ever band together themselves?
I've seen in different states.
Right.
I've seen women that are doing big things. Some felony girls from Detroit, Michigan. They have gotten out. They're starting to open up businesses. They're helping the ladies when they get out, open up businesses prior to them getting out. They're helping them. Out here, I can't just call out. I'm sure there are some organizations, and if there are, I need them to get in contact with me.
Yes.
So that we can band together because things happen in numbers.
Right.
Changes happen in numbers.
Yes.
So
yeah. Yeah, we also talked about that about different changes and things like that. Street to office transformation is one of my biggest things that I'm trying to work on. And that is, you know, and that's also to women as well. You know, we got to band together
We have
somehow,
to.
okay, and stick together. So yes, for the women who get out, the lack of resources that's in there. So technology has changed. You know, you
Right.
want to start a business, you don't have the etiquette, or you don't know how to speak, you don't know how to write emails and things like that. Yes, there's resources of things that she has listed, but that's another big project, is just street to office transformation. People who, you know, they want to leave that behind them and
Yes.
move forward. How can we move forward as a community and do better in this world? If you want us to do better in this world, well, then give us some tools that we can
Mhm.
work with so that we can be capable to do things like that.
Yes.
Anything else you may want to add?
No, I'm just big on having the resources and the money as well to be able to help. Grants, donations, all of that stuff is what keeps organizations like us going
Yeah.
and keeps the ladies and the men on the street. So they're better educated, employed, either as a business owner or as an employee. They're better back with their families. They're better for the community
Yeah.
as a whole, for everybody's safety, all of that. They're better for the community if they are educated and they know a little bit more than what they did before they went, because now you have something to lose.
Right.
Before I had nothing to lose. Now I know about making right choices, about
Yes.
impulsive decisions, about
Impulse decision.
conflict resolution. I know how to
Yes.
handle things differently. So this time around, if I'm given that second chance, I'm going to walk that walk a little bit different. And they know that. So that's what I'm striving for.
What are
Just
some things that they could be teaching?
what are some things that they
No, those are some things
Oh,
that they could be
definitely,
teaching.
definitely are
You
some things they
know,
could be
some type
teaching.
of classes, or when they're in there or when they get out,
Yes,
things like that.
yes. So
And I know that sometimes it could be surface when they give us these tasks. I've took things like that before, and it's just black and white. Here's an impulse sheet, or here's a couple of Q&As, you know, for you to go over. It's not really hitting the spot. Like
right,
if we want change, you have to hit the spot. Let's hit the spot for human beings. We're not robots, so don't give me a Q&A that is just black and white and then
mm-hmm.
expect people to pass it, which we do pass it because it's very simple, but
Right.
it's not helping the
It's not
healing
getting to the core
process.
of the
It's not getting
problem.
to the core of the problem.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what we need to get to, is the core of the problem.
Yeah.
And that's the resources that we need, is what's to the core of the problem. Do
Yes.
you even though we're separating as we speak the men from the women, we also need to come together as the men and the women. We're
Mm-hmm.
supporting you. I feel like most definitely it's time for the men to support us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the men are realizing that now, that behind every good man, there is a good woman there
Yes.
that has listened, that has taken notes, and has directed the traffic for you.
Right.
And if you are a real man, you are going to give that attributes and all of that to your woman. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think our men know that they need us
Spiritually.
in all different aspects. We are needed.
Yes.
So
Let me go back to the dynasties of where we
yes,
started from, okay?
we
You
are
know, in
needed.
order for us, you know, to keep moving on, you always have your mother, you know, you have the
Yes,
auntie, you have the grandmother,
grandmother.
you know, who are raising these men.
Hmm.
And it, even though the homes end up becoming broken at one point in time, and I'm not putting everything on the blame of the men, but 9 times out of 10 is because the men have left the home first.
I'm going to agree with that. Definitely the men have left the home, but the men have been put out of the home.
The men have been put out the home.
The men have been put out of the home, especially in our culture and our communities.
Yeah.
So when they are put out of the home and they are not educated and they're not employable because they have a record, what else are they going to do? So let's start off with the housing. Let's start off with the Section 8 that is all government funded, that you guys are getting government money. If this woman and this man can cohabitate together in this apartment and not cause any problems, said father should be allowed in the house, regardless of his background.
I want to take another step behind that. When the men are being put out of the home, we already know there's boiling water before the man gets put out of the home.
Right.
And before that cooking boiling water starts, his father was probably out of the home too.
Oh, absolutely.
It's that generational curse that we talk
Mhm.
about that needs to be broken.
But that's probably because his mother was on housing or Section 8 as well.
And it goes
So
back
it's
so
not
far.
just that the fathers are leaving because the mom and the dads are getting into it. It's
Oh,
more
there's
of the
many
fact that
reasons.
you're not even really supposed to be here. So the first thing
Laundry list.
that happens, you're out of here.
Yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
there's definitely a lot of reasons
Yeah.
why the men leave.
And that goes back so far in our culture, most definitely. Just a drop one, everybody talks about the crack epidemic, when that started, and things that just kept tearing down our community, and it just the system being placed for the prison, how that even became a thing.
And it's like we have passed down Section 8 for so long to our children.
Yes.
And we have passed down our past traumas to our children.
Yes.
We have passed down so many negative things to the children that we need to now pass down positivity, prosperity, purpose, passion, all the things that are what we're not accustomed to,
Right.
but what we need to relearn.
Right.
So
Relearning is
definitely,
a big thing.
yes, unlearning what we have been taught and relearning something different.
Right.
Things have changed.
Things have changed. I have hope that things are going to get better. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I think that a lot of awareness is happening now. As much as we battle with social media being such a negative thing at times, I've actually learned a lot from just scrolling, because voices are being heard, our voices being heard.
Mhm.
This is social media. It's going to get passed around, hopefully to the right people, the right eyes to see what we're speaking about, the things that you do, and hope for the future.
Yeah, people are definitely coming out of their shell more with social media. So it's allowing authentic and real people to actually be heard now.
Yeah.
Where that kind of was shied away before. Nobody wants to hear the truth.
The truth hurts.
But now people are yearning. They want to know the truth.
We want to know the truth. Yes.
And we deserve
the
to
truth
know the
now.
truth.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I thank you so much for joining me.
I thank you
Catch
for
us on our
having me.
live at 12 o'clock. We want to go in a little bit deeper of this conversation. It's never the beginning, but it's never the end. And I appreciate that. Okay. You did good. Thank you.
That was good. That was good. Oh, you made me feel super comfortable. That was good.
Thank you.